Hi everybody, Radical Gardener here. Well, I really don't know where to start on this. I've been wanting to make this YouTube video for about 4 days. I don't know why it's so hard for me to make a YouTube video these days. I get so caught up in everything, and really I love making these videos, and probably the more that I make them, the more followers I would have, but actually it's not why I make them, so. That'd be nice, I guess. Okay, so I'm now reading The Influence of Spiritual Beings Upon Man, Rudolph Steiner. It's an incredible book. All his books are incredible. I really fully understood, let me back up. Fully, I don't know. It's because it's very mysterious too, but it was clear to me when I started working with people energetically, through therapeutic sound. And I spent a lot of time studying at the mystery school and using some other healing modalities. But it's really clear to you that really the healing takes place in the seventh layer, which is about this far from the body. And you can actually feel it. If you just close your eyes, you can go 1, 2, 3. You can feel there's almost like a little energetic wall. It's really easy. Just trust yourself. You will feel it. So the healing takes place in that seventh layer. And each one of those layers is called something, but I'm just going to talk about this today. So you do the healing in this layer, so you never have to put your hands on anyone. I can do hands-on work, but I think the most powerful work is when you're working in this, this field, this seventh layer. And so once you really get that, you begin to see how we really evolved. I mean, let's face it, there's nothing Darwinian about us. Was there another species that was kind of human-like and ape-like? Yeah, but we were living alongside of them. I mean, I believe we wanted a specific kind of experience, and it wasn't to be ape-like. When we entered into the physical realm, it was for the development of who and what we are meant to be fully, okay? So, first we developed spiritually, and then we developed mentally, and that's where ego comes in, right? And ego is not a bad thing. Ego has a lot to do with drive and needing to be heard and needing to communicate and, believing that our words are important. And so there's a lot of things about ego that is really necessary for our development of having or wanting that full experience. And then after we go through the mental, then we enter into the physical evolution. So here we are, and we've incorporated, a lot of our spiritual, evolution. I'm not saying we're done, but for where we are, we have brought along, or we are the result of this spiritual, mental, and now physical evolution. There's a reason I wanted to take time to explain to you, or tell you, or inform you, or share with you what I think, right? But I don't just think it. So this is Steiner stuff. And it's really about mixing, he calls it spiritual science, and it's a great way to explain it, because if you don't incorporate the spiritual with the science, or the science with the spiritual, you're not going to know anything. You're going to have such a small piece of the picture. So, it's why allopathic medicine is is really lacking, and we're all finding that out in droves now. But also, it's why I can't tolerate someone that is really woo-woo and doesn't embrace the science. It is a vitalistic, mechanistic world, and it's about the marriage of the two, okay? But given everything that's been going on, what I'm going to read to you, have you noticed that cheese gets in every one of my, my videos? It's almost weird. So I'm reading this, and I want you to think about the mask thing. And, we really know, if we're thinking and paying attention, that everything that's been going on has been a push or a manipulation to turn us into a socialistic or a country that embraces socialism. That's what this has all been about. You can go here, but you can't go there. You can spend your money here, but you can't spend your money there. You can't stand close to people. You can go in here with a mask. These businesses can be open, but these businesses can't be open. You can spend your money in the big stores, but you can't spend your money in the little stores. You can use your credit card, but we really don't have change. I mean, believe me, this is just going on and on and on. And it's more and more, it sounds and feels like, getting dangerously close to, places like Venezuela. I mean, how do you think they started out? Do you think it was just little by little by little? Absolutely. All right. And then, the proof is that you just go into the cities where they're really overt about it, like New York City and Seattle and Portland and, I don't know, Detroit, though Detroit's not playing ball. I mean, Detroit's kind of kicking it up, and including the Detroit police chief. He's not playing ball. But anyways, so you know what's going on, right? All right. So let me read this to you, okay? Inasmuch as earthly man is intended to evolve to higher and higher spirituality, he is acquired as an outward physical expression the power to overcome the liver forces. Now, he explains how each organ has its work. It represents us emotionally in some way. So, again, when you're working with people, you understand that a lot of people who have tremendous sadness have kidney issues. People that are really angry have liver issues. People that are always upset or kind of victim-like. Sometimes they have stomach issues. So, I mean, this isn't unknown to us. This isn't a brand new. But the way he talks about it is different. So he says, and he's talking about evolving here, the power to overcome the liver forces. In a certain way, the lungs represent the counter organ to the liver. They do not enclose everything egotistically in themselves as the liver does. They open man fully outwards. He stands in continual communication with the world through the air that he takes in and again gives out. A combustion goes on in the lungs. The blue-red carbon-rich blood enters the lungs and is transformed through its combination with oxygen into red, life-giving blood. Just as in a burning flame, the substances unite with the oxygen, so in the lungs there is a process of burning. Breathing may be called a combustion process, and with this breathing and combustion process, man has been endowed with the prospect of attaining a higher and higher evolution. Now, you remember before this whole mass thing, everybody was doing breathing workshops, and breath was, it was all about, breathing deeply. You do your yoga, it's about breathing. Everything's about breathing, to move forward, to be healthy on many levels, continuing. The forces which built him up, man, have reached their ultimate stage in the liver. So we're kind of through that. We're entering a new time, okay? The forces which he receives like a fire from the air will rescue him from the forces chaining him to earth. We need our breath to no longer be chained to earth. The fire which man receives from the air and which is expressed in his breathing is that which leads him upwards to ever higher spheres. Now, that just blew me away. Hopefully it's going to blow you away because it's the truth. All right, so then he goes on to say, and I have talked a lot about this to my husband, to my friends, is what's really missing in society, and this is Joseph Campbell stuff, but it's really coming up a lot because, you know, people are doing all this cancel culture stuff, which that's not going to work. But it is so important that we stay connected to our mythology, because that is really telling us really who we are the human psyche. That's why there's such a thing as stereotypes, folks, because there's a certain way that we're going to experience things by stereotypical behavior, right? So there's 3 great little books, if you can ever get your hands on them, called He, She, and We. They're really small, maybe 80 pages. And they're written by, I want to say Robert Johnson, because not the blues guy, and he is I believe he was a Jungian therapist. But he based like relationships